Morning, ladies and gentlemen, I'm meadsy69. Welcome back to the channel. So today's video, we are going to look at a tank that I kind of have a love-hate relationship with, and that is the JG PZ E100, otherwise known as the Jaegeroo. So this tank, I've named it in the title. So it's a bad tank for bad players. It's a bad, very, very bad tank for bad players. But basically, I'm not saying that this tank is a bad tank. What I'm saying is if you are a bad player, then this is not the tank for you. It is very difficult to play. I mean, people just look at it and think, well, this is a big barrel of armor. It has a massive gun. Yes, it does have that, but it's not so easy to play. You do have armor. You do have a lot of armor, but you've got to put the tank in a right position to get that armor. If you're just out in the open, then you're going to be penetrated. The lower plate is weak. Wargaming have hired the upper plate, sort of, not the upper plate, but the cheeks in either side of the gun. That used to be really, really weak, just like the E100. But Wargaming buffed those the cheeks to make it a little bit more stronger. So when you are angling, that becomes very, very strong. However, the lower plate is still weak, so you do need to try and hide the lower plate as much as possible. Now, when this tank works, it works, and you can have amazing battles, like really high damage gains, which is one of these replays I will show you. But first up, we're going to have a look at the stats, because it's not just the alpha that is fantastic. So as you can see, the whole armor basic is 200 millimeters. The side and the rear are quite weak, 120, 150. Now, you do have 3,208 DPM. Now, I am running this with the rammer to up the DPM. Now, a lot of people will actually run this with calibrated shells. That is totally up to you, however you prefer to run it. But I run it with the rammer just to get the reload a little bit less, because I just think that the penetration already is really, really good, and it doesn't need anymore. But that is my preference. You might prefer more pen. That is up to you. So reload time is basically 15 seconds. Penetration standard 299. So AP is 299, and on your heat it is 380. If you do run it with calibrated shells, you will get this just past the 400 mark, but 380 is still enough to get through most things. Now, there's a couple of shots that I have. If I was running it with calibrated shells, then I may have actually penned, that we are going to see very soon. So you've got a 800 alpha gun, which we know, 680 on your heat and 1200 on your HE. So of course, if you are able to get those HE out, you do have 85 pen. Again, you can get that up. Ouch, I just banged my knee on the table. That freaking hurt. But 85 mil, you can get that up to just over 100 if you are running it with calibrated shells. So that does help. But yeah, I mean, if you are able to get the HE, then yeah, do use the HE, because 1200 damage is very, very nice. Very nice. The aim time 3.8, which I don't think is bad for a tank like this. And the dispersion is 0.344, nothing special. It has only 6 degrees of gun depression, and it is a very slow tank at 30 kilometers per hour. So as I said, we're going to have one of my replays that are not long done, and then we're going to have a pro replay, and just to show you what this tank is capable of doing. So we're going to start off. Now, I'm going to go left. Now, this tank is a very difficult tank. It's difficult because you just don't know where to put it. You just don't know where to put it. Do you sit at the back of the map and camp, or do you put it far forward with your team? Now, personally, I run this with my heavy tanks, and I just try either to sit behind a little bit, or I try to angle as best as I can. So first up, we do get rid of the Sheridan, which is very, very good, getting rid of him. And then I wanted to go to the middle here, in the middle, to try and get some shots. But I knew the Minotaur was there, but as soon as I started coming, the 60 TP and the E100 is there as well. And do you know what? That's the first ammo rack I've had in a very, very long time. So already we've done 2.5k damage thanks to that ammo rack. Now, this is the first shot I take, which I'm thinking, okay, I should have aimed. and I do bounce. That's one shot. I do mess up another shot as well in a moment. And as you can see, this guy, angle, you know, wiggle if you can, because they will go for your lower plate. They will. And if you, like I just did there, I wiggled or I moved at the right time. Just as he was about to shoot, then I moved, which ultimately got me 640 block damage. Here I'm going to mess up as well. So 62 HP. I'm thinking, you know what? I tell everybody to do it. Just splash with HE. That will get the win. Unless you splash the gun. If I'd have just hit anywhere else, I would have been able to kill him. But no, I wanted to hit there, and I didn't even manage to kill him. I leave him on 24 hit points. But, you know, the VK9001 is there to protect me, and he does kill him. So now bring it down to a 4 versus 3. Now, I know there's a Death Star. I know there's a Death Star here, and I see him right at the last minute. Luckily, he didn't go for me. He went for the VK. I don't really care about them. The object's gone. I care about this TVP, because he has the opportunity to do a lot of damage, and he's quick. He'll be able to get away from us very, very quickly. I'm not bothered about the Death Star. Even if the Death Star does sort of kill me at the end. Here's another time, like, I've got a lot of pen and I still freaking bounce that shot on the Death Star, which is unfortunate. But here comes the TVP. He is raging a little. Well, he's not raging. He's going into a road rage and he hits the wall. So I am able to kill that guy. And then the rest is history. We're not going to get any more damage done, unfortunately, to this Death Star. So I could have done 5k damage if I wouldn't have bounced on the Death Star. And if I wouldn't have... Well, I could have done 6k damage if I wouldn't have bounced on the Death Star, wouldn't have bounced on the 60 TP, and I wouldn't have done that little damage against the E100. But just, I mean, I did do the Amarak, which really, really helped. But yeah, you could do this regularly. You can do this regularly. But let's go over and just to show you how a real pro plays this tank. So I've skipped the first minute because we just get into position, or this Bakutu, or whatever his name is, Bakutu, Japanese, he sort of gets into position. And again, that is a negative thing about the tank, because it is so slow. It does take you a very, very long time to get into a certain position. And a lot of the time, like tanks like the T95 or you know, the Tor, or tanks like that are really, really slow. By the time you do get to where you want to be, a lot of the time, like, some of the tanks are either dead already or your team has just fell apart. So already the green team is 3 tanks down. Now, this tank, it has high alpha. It does have the high alpha gun, but it's not best to carry it because it is so slow, doesn't have a turret. If you get caught out and you get a tank that comes behind you, it's game over. It really is. So you have to be careful, or you have to be mindful of your surroundings at all times. Literally, not just for a little bit. You have to be mindful of your surroundings at all times. And that's exactly what our guy is doing here. He is backing up. He knows that there is not just a mouse over there. And he's backed up. And just before he's backed up, he got there in time. Beautiful HE shot into that AMX-50B, and like I said, you need to try and do that more often. You need to try and get the HE shot out as often as you can, and it really did pay the price for this guy, because that was over 1,000 damage done to that AMX-50B. So already 4.1k damage, and where I say about the armor profile, when it works, you know, if you are angled right. Look at his angling, you know, he's hiding that lower plate as much as he can, and he's angling the cheeks. He's not angling the lower plate, he's angling the cheeks at this point. And of course, when he reloads, he is just going to go for that guy, and he does get the pen. He is using heat, but he wants to guarantee that pen into that mouse. So that is another beautiful shot. Now here he leaves the mouse. The mouse is a one shot, and he's trying to support his team because the enemy are making a push for it. Get us a beautiful 1,000 max roll with AP. Standard AP, 1,000 damage. But at this point, 6,300 damage. It is a 2 versus 5. It's not looking good. However, most of the team now are all one-shot. So there goes one AMX 50B. Absolutely beautiful. There is the object there, which is a one-shot. Goodbye. And all of a sudden, it's a 2 versus 3. We know the mouse is a one-shot. We know the Death Star's a one-shot. Almost a one-shot. Well, now he's a one-shot. So this can still win. I mean, his Death Star is full hit points. If he can get a HE shot into the side of this T-57, that is that T-57 gone nanites. You know, he is gone. But I, at this stage, would leave the T-57 and try to go for the one-shots, because that Death Star has the capability to kill both of these guys with one shot. No matter what HP he's on, he has the ability to kill both guys. So there goes the mouse. He decides to leave the Death Star and try to get the shot he can actually take. And of course, that was the mouse. So now, all of a sudden, 2 versus 2. Now, they still have to make a push for it because of supremacy points. They still need to get a kill. If they're able to kill the Death Star, then it could change the whole outcome of the game. But look at the RNG. Just look at that RNG for this guy. Another maximum roll with AP. 1,000 damage done to the T-57. Brings him down to a one-shot. Sadly, the Death Star can't get him, but the Jaegeru can. So that is now 4 kills. Just about a win. 9,100 damage. And not only that, but he's also able to use his armor this game, and he's managed to block 1,200 damage. So at this point, lastly, he's going to use the HE. Well, he's going to try to use the HE. He does kill. He sacrifices himself, and the Death Star takes the win. So absolutely brilliant game. Magnificent damage. 9,100 damage. And that is what this tank is capable of doing in the right hands. But in the wrong hands, this will be known as a bad tank. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts on the Jaegeru. Are you admittedly a bad player that just cannot perform well in this tank? Are you a bad player that really performs well in this tank? Prove me wrong. But it is a bad tank for a bad player, just like the E100. So I hope you enjoyed it, guys. I'm Meadsy, and I will catch you all soon. Bye-bye. With